This is Chapter 7, question number 2, and we're talking about palpating. So the flexor pollis longus is palpated through the anterior surface of the thumb on the proximal phalanx and just lateral to the palmaris longus and the medial to the flexor carpal radialis on the anterior distal forearm, especially during active flexion on the thumb and interphalangeal joints. Our flexor carpal radialis is palpated through the anterior distal forearm and wrist, slightly lateral in line with the second and third metacarpals with resisted flexion and abduction. Flexor carpal ulnaris is the anteromedial surface of the forearm a few inches below the medial epicondyle of the humerus to just proximal to the wrist with resisted flexion and adduction. The extensor digitorum is with all four fingers extended on the posterior surface of the distal forearm immediately medial to the extensor pollis longus tendon and lateral to the extensor carpal ulnaris and extensor digitum minimum. Then dividing into four separate tendons that are over the dorsal aspect of the hand and the metacarpophalangeal joints. Our extensor pollis longus is on the dorsal aspect of the hand to its insertion on the base of the distal phalanx. Also on the posterior surface of the lower forearm between the radius and the ulnar, just proximal to the extensor indicis and the medial to the extensor pollis brevis and abductor pollis longus, with the forearm pronated and fingers in relaxed flexion while actively extending the thumb. And our extensor carpal ulnaris can be palpated just lateral to the ulnar styloid process and crossing the posteromedial wrist, particularly with extension and adduction.